Okay, so this is going to be for those of you that had quite a tough childhood growing up. Basically, you didn't really experience what it was to be a child. And I'm not saying that you never had like fun moments with friends or whatever, or even family, but just like your childhood was primarily surrounded on survival and growing up a lot faster than perhaps your friends. um yeah, it's like perhaps you had friends that they were very much like enjoying their childhood, and yeah, you'd get to like play with them, but like you always saw the difference and you felt the difference of how much responsibility you had compared to like your other friends. And it even feels as though like your friends' parents also perhaps notice this and were like, man, so and so is so mature and so responsible. And maybe even like you had remarks like of your friend's parents saying to their child, which is your friend, like, why can't you be like so and so? They're so mature, they're so responsible, and blah 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 blah, right? And it's like, yeah, you liked that, like that maybe another adult or other people around you just saw that you were so mature for your age, but at the same time, it was kind of like a weight that you didn't want to carry with you. And you were like, yeah, yeah, I'm like mature and I'm responsible and yeah, okay. But at the same time, like I should just be a kid and not have these responsibilities and not having to like also just look after your own parents, just yeah, it's it's interesting because it's like, yeah, you could have had like a full childhood, but at the same time, it was very heavy and lonely and isolating. So it's like, yeah, you could have had friends around you. You could have been playing with people, maybe even like some of your family members, but it's like they didn't really understand the deep, deep sadness you felt inside and the weight that you were carrying on your shoulders as a child, where you knew that this wasn't a weight that you should have been carrying, but it's like you were put in a position to carry that sort of weight because it's like the people around you, unfortunately, were kind of behaving like kids. And as a very empathetic, intuitive child that you were, it's like someone had to be the adult, someone had to be the responsible one. And it is unfortunate that, for kids like that, it's that weight is put on them and they just never really get to experience like the full spectrum of what being a child is, right? And obviously, like as you grow up, you still get used to that way of being, and that could have even like translated to how you were with your friends. You perhaps were always the responsible one, ensuring that everyone was safe, um, they were taken care of, and you kind of came last in that. But again, that's something that you were used to, so it's like you didn't even know the difference. It's just that's what felt comfortable comfortable, like you got used to it, you accepted that role about yourself, and that actually probably played out in your relationships as well, because again, when that is all that we know as kids, that's kind of how we grow up to be, to always be taking care of everything, everyone, putting our needs last, and, ensuring that everything's okay and the environment's okay. And then, yeah, it's like constantly kind of like thinking ahead for yourself, because it's like if you didn't have anybody taking care of you, it's like you had to take care of you plus the other people. So it's like like that's what I mean. It's like you're kind of like the parent even to your parents. And I get it. I get that's not fair. I get that's like a weight that's very hard to carry. And it's it causes kids to like grow up really quickly. Really quickly. And having to part ways with their child self. And yeah, like I said, I get that that's very heavy to feel, and to like that weight to have been put on you. Um and again, you just get used to that. You get used to that role. You get used to that way of being, but it does feel like, so this is going to be for those of you that it's like, yes, you've had that past, but you have been coming back to yourself. It's like you woke up finally and you're like, enough is enough. I've been an adult since day one, basically, right? You have to grow up really, really, really quickly. And yeah, you're like, enough is enough. I can't pour into people that aren't pouring into me. I have to stop ensuring that everyone's good, everyone's safe. Like, it's basically not being that caretaker anymore. And it's, again, it's not coming from a place of like you don't care about people. It's funny because it's like the opposite, because that's like literally all that you knew. That's all that you knew to do. But it's like you, as this caretaker that has taken care of so many people emotionally, right? Especially emotionally, that's a heavy weight to carry. You had to start stepping back from that eventually, because it's like the caretaker also needs to be taken care of. And it's like no one really did that for you. And I get it. It's that's hard. That's a hard place to be. But yeah, you've been, again, coming back to yourself. And it's interesting because now that if you guys have been watching my previous messages, they're all kind of, of the same onion, so to speak. They're just different layers. But again, I get that there's been just a collective that, has had these different experiences, has gone through all these hardships and stuff like that, these traumas and pains. And it's interesting because so many of you have been coming back to yourselves. So many of you have been saying enough is enough. And I don't know, perhaps it really is, the year of like the snake is just shedding the cycle of doing that, shedding the old skin, the old self of always looking out for everyone except for you. And yeah, you've been learning, you've been relearning to love yourself, to take care of yourself, to kind of like not put everyone ahead of you, right? Because you did that for so long, and no one was ever pouring into your cup. And yeah, you learn to overgive, you learn to overextend, you learn to even like people please, right? And it's just been like, nope, setting boundaries because you love yourself enough to come back to yourself, to take care of yourself, to do the things that you love. And so this has been a journey for you of, yeah, just healing. It like, again, it's been quite the ride, and I get it. I've been there with you guys. And it's just been like layer after layer of like healing, coming back to yourself, learning how to love yourself, learning how to do things for yourself because you enjoy it, right? It's not like out of an obligation and whatever. It's like, no, you're doing things because it's like, you know what? I've always wanted to, I don't know, go to someplace, right? And then you go, right? It's your first solo travel or whatever. And or you've been wanting to always, I don't know, try a dance class out or pottery or painting or whatever the case, right? Something that you've always been putting off because it's like, again, you're always putting yourself last. And now it's like, no, no, I'm going to come first. And you're doing these things. You've been doing these things. You've been enjoying it. Like, again, you've just been pouring back into your cup and you've been learning to live from this place of abundance, right? Of love, of joy. And yeah, you've been feeling really, really good. I get that with this always comes, different layers that we still need to shed. And you've been doing that. It's been easier. But you've really just been coming back to yourself, loving yourself, learning how to love yourself fully. And from that place is like when people enter your life, it's like they do get a different version of you. And it's actually a better version because this version of yourself is more magnetic, is capable of actually pouring into somebody else and choosing whether that's a person that is worthy of receiving. And I'm not saying that, other people are less worthy and like I hope you guys understand it's just about you protecting yourself now so that you don't overgive, like you don't give any more to the wrong people who can't fully receive you and then take what you give for granted, right? So you're just being more careful with that, right? Again, it's not coming from a place of hate or pride or ego or whatever. It's more like I've overextended for so long. I've overgiven. I've been the caretaker. I've always watched out for other people. I've always cared for other people more than you've cared for yourself. And it's like you're not going to be doing that anymore. You've realized that you are the priority because when your cup is filled to the brim and overflowing, you can actually give from a very pure-hearted place and it actually feels good, right? Instead of always depletion. And it's like, yeah, you're just being mindful, which is not a bad thing. You're being mindful who gets this like beautiful version of yourself. And it's like, you're just paying attention. If that person cannot meet you or cannot give back or takes you for granted, you're very quick now to close that door, to put that boundary in place and be like, okay, well, you've shown me that you can't meet me where I'm at. Cool, off you go with love and peace and whatever, but like you're no longer overgiving of yourself, right? It's only to those who truly are so appreciative of receiving you, right? That's the only people that you have room for now, and that's a great thing. But what I've been feeling, this has been feeling really, really good. You've been learning. So again, like I said, if you guys have resonated with everything that I've said so far, obviously this is for you. But now here's another layer, okay? This is also for you, and you know that this is something that you will be experiencing, is because you have been healing your inner child, okay? You've been healing, or you're currently healing, you're learning how to heal your inner child. So you're looking at your inner child wounds. You've been, in a way, like everything that I have described is inner child healing, but it just, you've let yourself grieve that version of yourself, but also feel the pain of the weight that you were carrying when you were younger. Because that's a very important thing to do, because perhaps you never really allowed yourself to cry or really to feel what you were feeling back then. Because I get it. You were living in a state of survival. You were go, 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 keep moving. There's not a second where you had to just pause and like cry the fact that you didn't really get the full spectrum of being a child, of what childhood really, really means, right? Because this is, again, for those of you that perhaps you don't even have that many memories of when you were a child, because it's like it was all responsibility, right? So, yeah, you guys have been looking at that. You've been healing those wounds. You've been allowing that inner child in you to come out, to cry, to grieve, to feel the pain, to feel the weight, to feel the anger and the sadness of everything that you had to hold together when you were a kid. You allowed that. You held that inner child of yours, and you're like, and it's like, yeah, you became the mother, the father that you never truly had when you were younger, right? You became this beautiful parent that your child needed back then. So, again, you've been doing that. You've been allowing your inner child to express itself. It's almost like you're, after you did the healing, you are allowing your inner child to live in such a way where they didn't get to express themselves when they were younger, right? So literally you've been living, you've it's like you've created a safe enough container within yourself where your inner child naturally blossoms and is like, okay, I want to try this, I want to do this, obviously within reason, right? It doesn't mean like, for example, you spend money that maybe you don't have or whatever. Like, you're just allowing that inner child to come out more and more in you. And again, with that kind of like change and shift and how you're living, people do see a change. People do see, they're like, there's something about you, right? And it's because that inner child is coming out in you. That's that pure, true, authentic essence coming out in you. And people can see it in your eyes. People can see it the way that you talk. People can see it in the way that you smile or you laugh, or the fact that you're just like so in the present moment and just going with it, you know? And yeah, people can also tell by your energy, and they're just like, you're cool, I like you, you know? And what I was feeling in with this, it's like, yeah, that's a beautiful thing, like you allowing your inner child to come out, be playful, and live, you know, let your inner child live through that. And it's it's like you're giving your child the childhood they never had, in a way, you know? And what I was feeling in with this, it's like, yeah, you're getting used to this way of living and it feels really good and whatever, but what I was feeling, it's like, oh, it's about to get better. It's about to get better. That yeah, it's like your inner child is going to be so blown away by what life is about to offer you. And it does feel like soon. Again, from whenever you watch this, it does feel like within the next 3 to 4 months. I kept feeling into that. That it's like, I don't know, it's just like you're gonna be like, no way. No way. No way that I'm living this life. No way that I'm experiencing this or whatever. And it feels as though like it's going to be connected to many different things, but it also does feel like it's going to be connected to a person and multiple people, right? So it's not just one person. It's going to be like, because again, like you're living in this way where you're attracting a whole different group of people where they're very much like enchanted by you. And it's almost like your inner child, because you're living that way, gives the green light and safety for other people's inner child to like come out. Okay, I don't know, this is just coming through. It's like Imagine everybody walking around and their inner child obviously like is in them, right? But it's like there's a glass there's a glass like wall where the inner child is in the body, but then there's a glass wall and then there's the body, right? So it's like it's basically saying that that inner child is disconnected from the world. It's trapped inside that person's like body, but it's not really connected with that person. And what I was just seeing is like because you have freed, you've broken that glass, and that your inner child is like just living life, just enjoying and finally like getting a childhood that it never had. What I see, it's like when you meet other people and like I don't know why I'm laughing, but maybe this is just my inner child thinks this is hilarious, though the image might not be that funny. It's like other I don't know, the other people's inner child is like, yes, they're stuck behind glass and they're like tapping on the glass and they get excited because they see like your inner child not behind the glass and their inner child is behind the glass and they're like tapping and being like, help me. And I know, again, I don't know why this is making me laugh because like truly the feeling isn't bad. It isn't bad because what I was getting with this, it's like they're tapping and it's because your inner child broke free. Like they tap back and it's like the tapping is causing cracks in the glass, meaning that that person's inner child is like kind of starting to peek out and maybe put their finger through because enough of the glass broke where it can put like its finger through or its hand through. So like yes, it might not their inner child might not be fully out, but they're like basically you're creating the safety for their inner child to be like it's safe. Like I'm gonna be accepted in this, you know? So it's a good thing. That's why I was laughing because it's like, yes, it's like sad and funny at the same time. But it's not because you're keeping them trapped them there. It's just because you're inviting other people's inner child to come out and be like, safe to play. It's safe for me to come out. It's safe for me to be seen and heard. And that is the gift that you are giving to other people by living this way now, you know? And yes, it feels as though you're also just going to meet other people where their inner child is also completely free. And it's like, I don't know, it's just like that. That's what I'm getting. It's like your inner child is just going to come and emerge even more. And it's just going to feel really, really good and sweet and wholesome and happy and joyful. And you know how like kids can be, right? Especially when they're allowed to be kids and they're allowed to go through childhood normally. It's just they live in a very blissful state, right? And they're just present and they're laughing, dancing, being their fullest expression, right? And yeah, that's what you've been coming into, that's what you've been learning, that's you're obviously there's more and more layers to it, right? Because you were so disconnected for so long, so now you're emerging as this, and it's just like to me what I was just feeling, it's just going to get better and better and better. Your inner child is going to be more and more online, and yeah, you're going to have like there's going to be more and more things coming into your life where it's like it's going to excite your inner child even more, and because of that it like gets amplified even more. And like I said, there's going to be people coming into your life where it's like everybody's inner child is going to come online, yes, some more than others, but it's like a very beautiful thing. And yes, for those of you aligning to um a romantic partner, it really does feel like, and I've tapped into this before, it really does feel like your inner child for the first time, and their inner child as well, for the first time, is going to feel so safe, so seen, so heard, and so like in this beautiful container. And it's like, yeah, it's really like you've never experienced this kind of relationship, because again, your inner child was like boxed and glassed in, and so was theirs, because again, it's always a mirrored effect. But yeah, it just feels like your inner child is just going to come out more and more, and you're learning to live from that place. And it's, yeah, I don't know if you guys ever come across, but like I was just getting the image of like and I don't know if I've ever come across it, but anyway, I was getting the image of like, you know how like there's some older folks where they never, I don't know how, they like never lost their inner child. Maybe they reclaimed it and they were always living from it, from that place. But I don't know, there's some older folks, it's like they never lost that spirit, and you can tell. It's in their eyes, it's in their expression, it's in their like carefreeness. I don't know if that's I don't think that's a word, but like they're just carefree all the time. And it's a very pure place, and like I said, you can tell who's living from that place, because it really is this different glow in the eyes. And it's unfortunate because when people are so disconnected from that, which is essentially disconnected from your soul as well, you can tell that they have a very dull look in their eyes. It's very like they're not there, they're not living from that place, and they just got used to that, which is unfortunate. But again, people such as yourself help these people kind of like their inner child starts breaking that glass a little bit, and I think it's beautiful. You guys, like, I want you to know that that's actually very beautiful and powerful work, because if enough of us come in contact with these kind of people, more and more of these inner kids will feel safe enough to come out. Obviously, it will take some time, but you know, it's planting the seeds, right? Anyway, yeah, this feels really good. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and continue living from that place, because it's a very beautiful, pure hearted place to live from. Alrighty, guys, sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next one.